pond. I thought it's an after work session. I've not had a decent after work session for a while, so I want to come out and get a bit of fly practice casting. And I've arrived. We've had sunny day all day, and there's just a few little clouds bubbling up, which I think is going to be really good conditions for sort of sight fishing and fly fishing. And I mean, in front of me now, in front of this swim, I can see 60 or 70 rudd. Sort of the biggest ones are about 4 or 5 inches, which is going to be great sport on the light fly gear. I've tied my own flies this time, so really the challenge is kind of if I can catch a fish on my own fly, then that'd be brilliant. That's what I'm really hoping to do. I've got some of them ones I got off eBay that I had some rudd and roach on last time, so we'll see how we get on. There you go, guys. Tiny little rudd on a tiny little fly. It's not one of my flies, unfortunately. This is one that I bought, and it's a purple with gold hook and gold ribbon on it, and a little bit of fluff and a black head. And I thought mine looked reasonably similar, but obviously not. So yeah, back to the drawing board on my own flies, I think. Tough old day today, guys. Totally different. I think I was saying in that bit of footage earlier, totally different conditions to what I was last time. I sort of. That's fishing, isn't it? You sort of have a really good session, and you come back and expect to be able to recreate it, and of course the fish don't want to play ball. I've had a tiny little one, so that saved the blank at least. Still got a couple more hours, to be honest, so we're going to carry on. I think maybe when the sun gets down behind the trees and it sort of shades up a bit, because that one fish I had was actually in a really shady little corner. I kind of just sort of flicked it out just speculatively because I saw a little flash of silver. The polarizing glasses are coming really handy as well. I mean, any sort of fishing, I can't recommend them enough, to be honest. It might be a bit better exposure for you. Yeah, brilliant. I can see. I mean, it's absolutely teeming with fish, and some of the rudd are quite decent. You know, sort of getting on for 6 inches, 7 inches, and I've had a few people tell me there's some, you know, rudd and roach for a pound in here, but you know, target them is another matter. And they are not hungry. You know, they're not desperate for food. People have been lobbing bread in already since I've been here, and there was a guy fishing with bread, and you know, so I think they're not wanting for food. So they're not sort of desperately hungry. It's bright sunlight, so they can tell exactly that it's, you know, I see them, so many of them. I've tried loads of different flies, dry ones and wet ones, and I mean, the dry one was, you know, fascinating. They'd come right up underneath it, and then they would just turn away, and you actually saw their little white mouths open and then close again. I've seen it on YouTube with people trout fishing videos and that, and I suppose this is good, you know, good practice for that sort of thing. So if you're thinking about fly fishing and you haven't got a trout fishery, you don't want to pay out like the 25-30 quid it is for a day at a trout fishery, then if you've got a little rudd pond, then I'd definitely recommend it just for a bit of casting practice and testing out your polarizing glasses, spotting the fish and seeing how they're behaving towards the flies. Yeah, yeah, I'm going to persevere, you know, as ever, and we'll try and get a few more. Oh, back he goes. Proper job. Little roach, absolutely smashed it. Oh, what's that? Well, I think that's a roach, guys, but I've never seen anything like that. It's got a transparent gill plate. It's really transparent. His head's see-through almost. That is really weird. It hasn't got a proper orange eye. Let me get a picture of it. It's a different colour as well. I don't know what that is. Well, another day now, guys. It's actually a week later since you last saw me. This is the third time of asking and trying to catch a fish on a home-tied fly. So we had a couple of little tiddlers on those little eBay flies. I think the last bit of GoPro footage you would have seen. I then went out and fished a chalk stream trying to see if I could get some little brownies. That was another after work session, so I only had a couple of hours before it got dark, and I had one little tug on like a little brown sort of pheasant tail thing that I'd tied myself. So nothing there, and the footage just wasn't very good, to be honest, so that didn't make the cut. So I'm back out now. It's a week later, another after work session. I've been tying all weekend. I didn't go fishing at the weekend. I had a few family bits and bobs to attend to, and so I managed to get a bit of tying done. So I've tied quite a number of flies now, so fingers crossed one of them will do the business. I've tied some real tiddly-weeny ones as well, which, you know, just to get something to get the challenge completed. I'm going to separate into another challenge as well, which will be catching a trout on a home tide fly, so look out for that. I've not been able to replicate the first 2 times of asking coming out with a fly here, and then the trout video you would have seen a couple of weeks ago. Not been able to replicate that, and the conditions just haven't been the same, to be honest. Again, it's like a mill pole. It's absolutely so still. See that behind me there, and it's blowing a breeze, good breeze, but it's all sort of at the top of the hill, and I'm down at the bottom of a bit of a valley here. So yeah, you know, but that's it, that's challenging. There's absolutely tons of little flies as well on the surface of the water, tons and tons of them, little midges and gnats and all sorts really. So yeah, I've got loads of patterns to try, so fingers crossed we can get something. Oh, bloody hell. Well, got one, guys. Little tiny rudd. I can't say I'm not pleased. I'm absolutely over the moon to get a fish because that's a blank saver. But unfortunately, it wasn't on my fly. And I've switched over to one of these eBay flies, these tiny little eBay flies, and I'll show you that in a minute. And it's gone absolutely mad. They're you know, they're really going for it. So really, I think my fly tying is not up to much. But there you go. Live and learn. Little bit better. Lovely rudd actually, just there in the top lip, cracking little fish, absolutely brilliant. Right guys, just while we've got a bit of light, I'll show you the flies. So that bottom one there is the one I'm using. That's the eBay fly, and it's a very dark purple body with a little black head and some bandings, like gold wire bandings or gold. I don't even think it's wire. I've actually put it between my teeth, and it feels like a soft. So it's like, I think it's like a coated thread. And I've tried to, and you can see it's got like the hackle sort of. The hackles round the front there, the feathers, and that's the one I've tried to imitate. And you can see the feathers I've used are quite a bit different. They're a little bit longer. I tried to kind of match the colour as well. You can see they're a little bit longer, but it's not, you're just not doing it. And I mean, it's slightly smaller, the one I've kind of replicated. Hang on, well, that's it there in a better profile of it. So you can see there that the feathers I've used are much more kind of springy. I've nipped a little couple off at the bottom there just to kind of make it look a little bit like legs, but yeah, and I mean, it's a slightly sort of lighter gauge wire in the hook. It's a slightly smaller hook. I mean, I thought that would be a reasonable replica, but it just hasn't bought any bites, or so few and such shy bites. Maybe it's the tickliness of the feathers that are putting them off, I don't know, but this eBay one is doing the business. So I'm going to have another few casts, and I'm going to change back to my fly again just for perseverance, because I do want to get this challenge complete. Another little rod there on the eBay fly. Oh, back he goes, another little rudd. Very lively tonight. Vindication, guys. That was on my fly. I trimmed down the wings a bit so they weren't so sort of massive, and yeah, the bites were a little bit more shy, but this one really took it, and yeah, I'm well chuffed, absolutely chuffed to bits. So I've challenge completed. I've caught a fish on a fly I tied myself, so absolutely blown away. Brilliant. So happy with that. Absolutely fantastic. Ooh. Oh, there it goes. They're lively tonight. Definitely a day of small rudd, guys. That was again on the eBay fly. I've switched back just because I've just got so much confidence in this fly, and I think sometimes confidence is like 80% of fishing, ain't it? It's just all about whether you feel confident. And I've just cast it there along them reeds, desperately trying not to get into this little shrub thing in front of me, and it's just nibbled away. It just nibbled then. Right as the light's fading, guys, they're still having it. Absolutely brilliant. Well, guys, back home now. Just to give you a little update, if you were observant in that video, you may have noticed that halfway through, the rod and reel I used was different, which I don't do very often. And as I only own one, or owned one fly fishing rod and reel, you might think that's a bit weird. But in the intervening week between going out and catching those first few fish on the eBay fly and then having another crack, I'd taken heed of some of the comments I'd had about weights of the rod, and I did some research, and I'm not convinced that what I was using, the line was matched to the rod. I don't know if it was too heavy or too light or whatever, but yeah, my casting just wasn't working as I was expecting it to, and I felt my technique was okay, and it was okay. I was casting reasonably, but I looked into it and looking at some of the comments, fishing in small compact areas. A few people suggest I should go for a lighter weight rod and reel and match the corresponding line. So I'd already ordered some new line, replaced that, and had a go on the trout stream on that Matt Hayes set, and the line just using a line. I think it was a 3 to 4 weight line, and the rod was a 6 to 7. But just using the lighter line did actually it came through the eyes easier. But I don't know whether that's the quality of the line or whatever. And the line that came with it didn't have any bonded eyes or anything on, like bonded loops on the end of the line. So subsequently found out that if you sort of buy a slightly better quality line, then it will have that, and it just makes attaching the leader and the backing easier when you're loading up the reel and stuff like that. Right, so the rod is from Amazon. It cost me £51, which is not the cheapest of the cheap for a fishing rod, considering I've bought stuff from various online retailers for like under 20 quid. Even Decathlon, my lure fishing rod was 20 quid. But yeah, I had a voucher from work that I won in a competition ages ago, so I thought I'd just give it a go. Yeah, so it's a max catch Premier 8 foot 4 section. This is it comes in a really nice hard tube as well, which is great for putting on the old on the bike, and it's not going to get crushed because it's quite a light, delicate rod. I'll just give you a quick look at the butt section. I'm not going to, I can't really show you the old rod, but yeah, there's no eye on the butt section, which is quite interesting, apart from like a little hook keeper. That's how you align the reel seat. A nice metal reel seat, and it feels a lot more sturdy than the previous. So all in all, it felt better to start with. I got a max catch eco reel, that was £22. This is all come from Amazon. I ordered it and it arrived the next day because I just thought I'm going out, and I got a bit of a bee on my bonnet about trying it, and the reviews were quite good on the website, you know, as far as they can be trusted. So I just went for it, and that's what I've done, and it just feels a lot easier to cast. I mean, it's not, I'm not going to say this is the quality of the rod that's done that or anything like that, because, you know, as fly fishing rods go, this is probably the, you know, pants. If you're going for the good stuff, but it works. And matching the reel, the line, and the rod, 3-way, it makes a massive difference. And I mean, the distance I was getting was not a great deal further, but it was easier and just required so much less effort. And I could just flick it like that and be confident it was going to go where I wanted to go. And it felt like I was casting with it felt like I knew what I was doing a bit more. I mean, I don't know if it comes across in the end of that video, and, you know, my technique definitely needs work. I know I've got too much wrist action. Yeah, so, it is what it is. But I just thought I wanted to explain, you know, why there's been a change of rod and reel. I'll put links to all the stuff I've bought. I'm pleased with it. It seems to work. It's caught fish. That's as far as I can say. I'm going to persevere with it because I'm really loving fly fishing. I never thought I'd enjoy it as much as I have, really, but it really has been so enjoyable to try something completely different, and the techniques are so different. So yeah, that's great. And just an update on the fly tie-in. There you go. That's my collection so far, tied by me. You know, they're a bit raggedy. I've not sort of made loads of the same set or anything like that. I'm just tying loads of different types to get a feel for it, really. Some of them are a bit chunky. They're not exactly tapered. That I do need work on that, but it's another fun thing to do, to be honest. Tying flies, quite relaxing, quite therapeutic. It's sort of taken over from the float making a bit, although I've got some floats to finish. So yeah, as ever with these hobbies, they do tend to take over. But yeah, I just wanted to update you really on that. And if you'd noticed the change of rod and reel, that's why. Seems to be working out so far, but, you know, further videos will tell, and I dare say I'll explain it all to you further. Hopefully you've enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed making it, and, you know, the talk about what I've been using has been a bit useful for you. If you have enjoyed it, please hit that thumbs up. Please drop me a sub. I'd be much obliged. And if you could share this on any of your Facebook groups or social media pages, I'd also be much obliged. And I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers, guys. Fish on.